'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. Little Miss Craw shot up in bed. Or was that real? Or was the sound in her head? Listen, Miss Crawdunk, I've really gotta go get these presents ready. I can't be sitting here recording this intro all day. I mean, Christmas is soon and... What do you mean it's almost February?
I've been recording this intro take after take for how long?
Now, Nick, listen. I've been out here working hard for this video, okay? The least you can do is record me this short intro like I paid you to do. So get your fat, happy ass back in that booth and start talking.
How dare you speak to me that way?
I know just what to do with you.
To the naughty realm you go!
Damn that, Santa. Well, I guess we're stuck in this Terraria world for the time being. Might as well make a video out of it. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Terraria challenge video. Today we have been cursed by the evil Saint Nick himself. He has afflicted us with mid syndrome. Wait, no, that's not right. He has made it so that while stuck in this Terraria world, we can only use winter weapons. I know, sounds pretty tough, but actually only the early game should give us some problems. Now our plan is pretty simple. We are gonna bum rush the snow biome until we can get a good majority of these weapons and just hope and pray we can make it past the wall of flesh. So let's waste no time getting back at old Santa Claus. But first, did you know that 90% of you are not subscribed? That's no good. If you enjoyed this video or any of my others, please make sure to go down below and subscribe and like the video or dislike it if you don't like me. Thank you very much, let's go. First things first, as always, we start chopping some wood and exploring to one side of the world. We find the desert on the left side, which probably means the snow biome is the other direction, but we keep exploring until we find a chest in the jungle, grabbing ourselves an aglet for an early move speed increase. We recall home and head to the other side of the world and find some large trees. Well, not anymore. Anyway, inside the chest we find a wand of sparking, which is fantastic for a later upgrade we can use. Another chest containing a boomerang, and finally make it to the snow biome. Our snow biome isn't the greatest in the world, but I find a small opening and start digging my way down into the caves below until we find our very first heart crystal, as well as stumbling into an underground house. Let's see, what do we get? And after that, I make a small little crafting station deep underground, making a pick upgrade and a ton of snowballs, which are one of the throwing weapons we have available to use at this point in time. After that, I drop myself right into a spider nest, absolutely no thoughts, just flying in, grabbing the heart crystal, and dying. But that's okay because we immediately find a heart crystal and then I get caught in a hole full of slimes. And it definitely doesn't happen again. We get another heart crystal, a cloud in a bottle, and head back to spawn to pop a gravitation potion, finding a star fury and a lucky horseshoe before heading right back down into the caves. Later that night, we managed to get our first present drop, which just supplies us with candy cane blocks, unfortunately. A few more life crystals later, and we find another ice chest giving us a blizzard bottle. The one time I don't actually want one. More crystals, another blizzard, and flurry boots. Please, I just want a weapon. In desperate need of a weapon, I start digging straight down randomly and dig my way straight into another house. And finally, we obtain our first real weapon, the Ice Blade, a fantastic starting weapon for us. After a successful mining expedition, I start extracting a ton of slush and I go ahead and create a elevator before spamming all of the heart crystals we've obtained, going up to max HP. Next, I want to clarify something while I build this house. I absolutely intended to make a Christmas themed house for this playthrough. I did not, because I might be stupid and forgot when I started. That's it. I know. We go ahead and prepare for the night by making a nice big arena, grab a couple of potions, and spawn the Eye of Cthulhu. Ideally, we would have the snowball cannon for this fight, but we'll just have to do with the Ice Blade. And we do, although it's fairly slow. We get the Eye of Cthulhu down to the second phase with ease. A few seconds into the second phase, I realize I can just use the snowballs I have, and it'll be much faster than swinging and missing with the blade. As we switch over, the fight begins to go by a lot faster, and we swiftly cleaned up, defeating the first boss of the playthrough. Back in the caves, we find a lost girl grabbing a metal detector before finding and freeing the stylist. I literally never find her, so cool. We finish up our caving by taking down some flinxes and grabbing their fur to craft our next big upgrades. The flinx staff, which will give us a massive boost in passive damage, and the flinx fur coat to buff it even further. Next, we finish exploring the overworld, and then we head into the Crimson, blowing up some hearts so that we can start waiting for the goblin army. We head deep into the jungle, finding a staff of regrowth and some feral claws, which will come very in handy with our relatively slow ice blade. I begin scouring our map of the ice biome to try and find some more houses, but our first venture ends in nothing good. We do manage to find the Mrs. Claus vanity set though, so of course we replace our Santa set with it. We then jump right back into the ice and we do find ourselves another house, and this one gives us our next weapon, the snowball cannon. Now this might not seem like it right now, but this weapon is the single reason this challenge was completed. Just wait. Finding nothing else, I head up to the surface and mine a ton of snow, gathering plenty of ammo for our new weapon and giving it a test run the following night. We clean up some of our old homes, and then a goblin army decides to show up. This is actually pretty early, so we slowly fire away at the group of ghastly goblins and take them out with ease. Then I go ahead and place down some more homes to get some pylons going before jumping down in the mines and immediately finding the tinkerer in a mushroom biome. We quickly buy the workshop and rocket boots and go home to craft ourselves the specter boots. It's time for another boss. We go and make the king slime spawner and get some nice reforging going, getting the ice blade to legendary before spawning in the slime man. Fight is mad easy as always. I don't even really end up using the ice blade, just jamming the snowball cannon and firing at him like crazy until we finish him off. And one of the slimes gives us a present, blessing us with a legendary candy cane sword, which is actually low-key better than the ice blade for dealing with crowds. Back in the jungle, we finally find ourselves an Anklet of the Wind, which will let us create the lightning boots before setting up our Crimson for our next boss fight. We grab some buffs and head over, spawning the Brain of Cthulhu. I honestly expected this fight to go way worse than it did, using the candy cane sword to do a ton of damage to the creepers. We get the brain down to phase 2, and a combination of the sword and flink staff get a ton of work done before I switch to the Wand of Frosting and just clean up the fight easy peasy. With that, we craft the Deathbringer pickaxe and a few pieces of crimson armor before finally grabbing the shiny red balloon and crafting the white horseshoe balloon. Next up, it's mining time down in hell as we grab just a ton of hellstone and obsidian, crafting a full set of molten armor, an obsidian skull, and a molten pickaxe. Of course, we gotta get the shimmer going, so we take some bombs and start going crazy, breaking our way straight into it. We go ahead and place down a house after grabbing a vital crystal and head over to the dungeon to start placing down a ton of platforms for Skeletron and placing down some nice buff items. While waiting for the next night, I spent some time trying to make the house a little more festive. Unfortunately, this shit's fucking ugly. Jesus, get rid of that. Time for some crazy progress. We buy a bunch of buffs and start talking to the old man until we can summon Skeletron. We managed to get out of the entrance and to our arena super easily, no hits taken at all because we're epic. Skeletron is never too tough, but with the most broken weapon in the game, the snowball cannon, it might as well be a free victory. Shooting away at the hands until we get them both taken care of, we just switch to belting the head with snowballs until he dies, and we dive straight into the dungeon. We free the mechanic, and we're only looking for one item here, and that's not it, and that's also not it, and hey, that's it! We quickly go home and craft the obsidian shield before heading down and mining up a ton of houses in hell. Then I get bored and decide that explosions are way better. Grabbing 5 million pieces of dynamite, we start excavating hell and placing blocks until we have a massive arena, probably the longest I've ever made. We throw some fruit and a mana crystal into the shimmer, and I grab the guide voodoo doll, throwing it into the lava, summoning the wall of flesh. Now, the wall of flesh is always one of the toughest fights in these challenges, especially one where we have such a limited weapon pool that are all balanced around early progression in Terraria. I mean, I honestly don't even know if I can make it past the wall of flesh in this playthrough. Such a genuinely tough challenge for me, and hey, what? Did I just first try the wall? Snowball cannon, sweet baby, let's fucking go! We quickly celebrate and grab ourselves an extra accessory slot before heading to the snow biome and decimating Ultimate T-Boy King Slime, until we get our next weapon, the Amarok, a super crazy jump in power. Next up, it's armor time, so we go to the Crimson and break some altars, getting palladium, orichalcum, and adamantite. We of course do like an hour of mining after this until we can craft ourselves a full adamantite armor set, including all 3 helmets. We reforge our Amarok to Godly, and down in the ice, we find a Mimic who drops a great magic upgrade in the Flower of Frost. We take our weapons to the skies and take on a few wyverns until we can craft ourselves some ice wings with the feather we grabbed during our King Slime sessions. We grind down in the underground for souls and craft our first mech boss summon, the Mechanical Skull. Wasting absolutely no time, we summon the boss at night, and using a combination of the Amarok and Flower of Frost, we focus on a few of the limbs at first until the scary ones are all gone, and we can switch focus to the head. After a ton of damage, we eventually get all of the limbs gone, and from there the fight is a walk in the park as we grab our first mech boss victory. Now it's time for a ton of gold grinding as we take on 400 Brain of Cthulhu's and sleep until the next night so we can take on mech boss number 2, the terrifying Twins of Terror. The The twins are never super tough for me, especially with the combination of ranged melee damage and the Flower of Frost. We can get a really good groove going, switching between the two as the eyes dash towards me. Eventually, we wreck through the green one's first phase, and his second phase falls even quicker, leaving only Laserman, who is always easy, but just to solidify our victory, I run over to the desert home and do some cheesing for our second mech victory. Same night, wasting no time, I summon the Destroyer. I'm hyped, I'm prepared, I'm dead. Okay, so maybe the Destroyer isn't gonna happen this time. We head down to hell and fuck, shit, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, anyway, we go ahead and craft ourselves the cool whip. I figured this weapon will do wonders in the fight against Mecha Worm, at least for some consistent extra damage while we deal with the probes. So with a new weapon in hand, we summon the Destroyer again, and we get a nice chunk of damage in early as he's all bundled up. Super satisfying to watch, but what's even better is us dodging and weaving the long man, switching between all of our weapons masterfully until he falls at our immense strength. With all of the mech bosses defeated, I craft a full set of hallowed armor and a pickaxe axe before buying some closed arenas and heading to the jungle. I'm ready to get this video done and out to the public. I'm wasting no time. We prepare the arena for playing Terra and buy the spawner. When the fight starts, I do some experimenting with weapons, but for the most part, I find the flower and Amarok combo to just be undefeated. We get Plantera down to her second phase, and I start to use the cool whip to deal with some of her extra mouse, but in the end, none of it matters as we take her out for a nice date to Progressionville, baby. Let's fucking go! We got the axe too, yes! We dig our way straight to the jungle temple and unlock that sucker before heading home to grab our final weapons. I grab a few naughty presents and we slowly make our way through the waves until we get the Everscream spawning in. Our first Everscream drops us, nothing, okay. But the second one, the goat, drops the Christmas tree sword, which is a phenomenal melee weapon, especially against crowds. So we easily melt through some more waves for the Frost Moon and the sand tank starts spawning. The first one drops us nothing, but the second one actually drops us the Elf Melter, which, while not fantastic, is at least a weapon we can use. A small brain break, and we're back in the Christmas spirit, baby. This time the sand tanks drop one of the best weapons and the weapon that will win it all for us in the end. The chain gun. Yep, that's right. We're gonna be blasting. I didn't actually manage to take out any Ice Queens, unfortunately, but that's okay. We do some quick grinding and defeat a pirate invasion, grabbing ourselves a discount card, actually, before heading down to the temple again with a stupid, dumb, bad arena. This thing sucks. But I don't care. I'm playing like crazy. We use the chain gun and Christmas tree sword like masters, taking out the fist and getting Golem to phase 2 super easily. While in phase 2, we do actually cut it pretty close, but he jumps right into our tree blade and takes himself out for us. Love you, Midman. Love you. While trying to make a mushroom biome, a solar eclipse happens, which, yay, of course. We deal with that real quick and continue our mushroom biome mining for a ton of chlorophyte and making a full beetle armor set for now. We also go ahead and get to hammering some shroomite bars for later as we start the fight with the Lunatic Cultist. Claus, sexy humanoid of the year, actually almost kills us on the first attempt thanks to the sword's projectiles hitting clones, but we teleport out before he can get the pleasure, and that was enough for me to fully pivot over to the chain gun and shroomite armor build. So the next attempt comes around, and this time the loser has no shot. It was actually a pretty tough fight, but we still take him out and immediately start working on the pillars. First up is the closest, the solar pillar, and the chain gun and Christmas tree sword are just great for quickly clearing the pillars. So great, in fact, we managed to defeat the solar pillar without a single death. Incredibly rare for me to pull off, but hey, I'm cracked. Next up is my vote for hardest pillar if you can't cheese it, the Vortex. I do die a couple of times, but overall we managed to take out the pillar pretty quick at the sacrifice of our nurse. May she rest in peace. Next up is Nebula, and I don't have too much trouble with this one, clearing it with ease and moving on to the final pillar and easiest of them all, the Stardust. After some cell cheesing, we rush over to the pillar itself and we take it out easy peasy. As impending doom approaches, I quickly realize I did not set up an arena for Moonlord, so we're just gonna have to wing it. Yep, we start dragging this man across the world, but we just don't have the movement to dodge his big laser in the end. So now it's time to build a ton of platforms. I pretty much build platforms across the entire world. We summon the Moonlord again, and although we do melt in the damage department, he melts us even faster and we do end up dead. Here, I make the insane decision, after that death, to replace all of my platforms with asphalt, because I'm a psycho, apparently. I also make the nurse a home so we can giga cheese Mr. Lord. As impending doom approaches one last time, I'll let you enjoy the time-lapsed fight. with the dreaded Moonlord's defeat, I can finally say, fuck you, Santa, and play the game as intended by forcing myself to do different challenges. Thank you all so much for watching this Terraria Winter Special. I really do intend to increase how much I upload because you guys are always so supportive, and I would love to be able to do this for you guys consistently. But I, of course, do need for these videos to do well. So if you enjoyed, please share this video around to your Terraria friends, your LGBT companions that are looking for inclusive content creators, and anyone you think might enjoy my overall presence. I appreciate you all so much. I love you guys. Bye. Now where's that big fucker? I'm gonna go kick his ass. Time for some crazy oh my goodness. Time for some crazy progress. We buy a bunch of buffs and start talking to the old man until we can I'm gonna have a stroke.